There we go.
3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to go on about another Stephen King film. This time chosen by our good friend Boris here. So why don't you tell us what film we are you had us watch for this week?
Oh yeah, so this week we watched the movie Misery from 1980, based on the novel of the same title by Stephen King. Um, so it was directed by Rob Reiner, written by, as I said, Stephen King, and the screenplay by William Goldman. And it stars James Caan, Kathy Bates, and Richard Farnsworth. Uh, One funny thing I'd like to say about James Caan is that several years ago I saw him in an episode of the YouTube series The Annoying Orange, where he played the face of a jalapeno pepper. Uh,
Oh, you like James Caan then?
yeah, he was good in this movie, definitely. And so yeah, let's see what IMDb actually says about the movie.
And one thing I
Uh,
wanted to say about Rob Reiner is some of you who don't know who he was a meathead, dead from the neck up, from All in the Family. All in the Family was a 70s TV show, and he played um, the son-in-law that Archie Bunker always
Called
um,
Meathead.
called Meathead. So those of
uh,
you who don't know who Rob Reiner is.
I would also like to say one funny thing. While I was watching the movie, there was this one moment when the staircase of the house appeared for the first time, and it kind of made me think of the Bates Motel, and then I found out the actress is actually surnamed Bates.
Oh, and he also played the uncredited helicopter pilot um, that went searching for our main character,
Wait, who played that pilot?
Rob Reiner.
Oh, uh, I see. Mm, so it says, or sorry, Dave, did you have anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay. So, after a famous author is rescued from a car crash by a fan of his novels, he comes to realize that the care he is receiving is only the beginning of a nightmare of captivity and abuse. So, uh, let's see, is this the first time you guys watched this movie, and what were your first impressions? Let's start with okay, ladies first. Let's start with Tabby.
Oh, yeah. No, it was not my first time. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I think I think I actually have all of the movies. And I know I have a good portion of the books too. So, no, it wasn't my first time. I don't remember exactly the first time, but I do remember being like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. She's gonna take care of him," and then all of a sudden, is Stephen King tradition that all like twists, and it's like, "Oh, this isn't so cool anymore."
uh,
So
yeah.
I did like it. I said, it fits Stephen King with the plot twist and everything, and you know, you think that the sheriff is just some hick in a little hick town, and he figures everything out, which is really surprising because you at first when you see the sheriff, you don't think that he's going to figure anything out.
Y- yeah, I had the same
He doesn't
impression.
look like he knows how to tie his shoes.
Right.
Uh,
But yeah, I think it was good. I mean, the two main characters really, I think they did a good job. So definitely, one I that's in my collection. So
oh, yeah. Uh, okay, and is that it of your first impressions, or would you like to add anything?
no, that's it for now. Don't want to get into the movie too far.
Okay, what about you, Dave?
I would say no. This is not my first time watching it, but I haven't seen it as many times as probably Tammy has. Um, Kathy Bates kind of got known for this particular role, and I've gotten to like Kathy Bates a heck of a lot over the years. I know that this probably wasn't her first role that I probably saw her in, but this was her first crazy role that
First role you really recognized her.
yeah. I mean, she really does become the number one fan. But this is the kind of crazy that
Well,
you
I
don't exactly want from anyone. You know, um, wife, girlfriend, you name it, stalker wise, you don't want to be in a car crash anywhere near the vicinity of this person.
I mean, technically she did save his life, but
Ooh,
Yeah,
interesting point.
technically, but the minute that she did, she should have called someone or at least tried to get him into a
well, I
hospital.
mean, the fact it was a blizzard, so that part was probably true. But yeah, as soon as she was able to, she should have.
Oh yeah, but yeah, this is an enjoyable trip down Stephen King lane per se, and I do think that this is pretty close to the book because I do remember reading the book. So it is one of the closer adaptations, I think. And there are a couple of gruesome moments, a couple. So
Mhm.
I'm glad that we revisited this. It was a treat.
There's definitely one scene where I'm like, oh no! Like first time I saw it, holy shit! I was like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Oh, you mean when she stuck the board between his legs?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So,
um,
I
next
still
the thief.
cringe every time that scene comes on. I still cringe. He knew that last night. I'm like, oh no.
uh,
Yeah. It's an intense scene, and whenever I think of misery, that's the scene that pops in my head.
uh, yeah, it also kind of reminds me of that Japanese movie Audition. If you have seen that one,
No.
this uh, this woman can do stuff I maybe shouldn't say with that bitch from Audition. They are for each other. Well, okay, Dave, is that it of your first impressions, or would you
That's
like
pretty
to
much.
add it?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Without getting too much into the plot.
Okay. What about you, number one fan?
Um, well, yeah, not my first time. Like I just said, I think it's about my third time, maybe fourth. Um,
Hmm.
I remember seeing it when it first came out. Didn't see it in theaters, I don't think. Probably rented it or something. Um, but yeah, I mean, I had no idea who Kathy Bates was. Like Dave, probably saw her in something. I don't know. Funny story though. I was first time I watched Waterboy. I was kind of on some substance that made me laugh really hard when I saw Kathy Bates in Waterboy, and I just laughed. And it's Kathy Bates because it was seemed to be very funny to me because I mean, that was a few years, quite a few years after Misery, but I still um, thought of her in Misery. You know, like she had such a presence in the movie, and she was so batshit crazy. You
Don't
just,
be playing
you
no
know, just
football, boy.
you can't see her in other roles at first. You know, she was good as the mother there. She was a little bit nuts in that role as well. So she does nuts well. She wasn't completely nuts and insane like she was in Misery, but yeah, she's definitely a fruitcake, to say the least. But she does care for her son.
Yeah,
So
she showed up as a witch in the American Horror series later on.
yeah,
So
I never watched that. Um, but yeah, she definitely commands a presence, and she steals the scene. You know, she just, you know, like I said, she was virtually uh, nobody really heard of her. And like I said, she's probably in a few things or whatever. I'm sure you look it up and see that she was in stuff, but you know, no one really knew of her. In this movie, she just like everybody knew who the hell she was. You know, everybody could picture her in her mind. You think Kathy Bates, and you like you see her. And for me, it's definitely that scene, that one scene I always see that we just talked about. Um, and it's a horrifying scene. I mean, just absolutely horrifying. Um, you know, well, to me, I mean, the a lot of some Stephen King movies are scary. I wouldn't call it scary, but definitely horrifying. Um, you know, uh, definitely a case of stalker slash fan slash you know completely nuts crazy person. But yeah, it's Stephen King. I love it, and it does start out, you know, like oh everything's normal, and you know of course it's Stephen King, so um, if you know Stephen King, you know it's only gonna stay that way. But yeah, I mean the fact that she was following him was probably a little creepy. But again, if she hadn't followed him, he most likely would have definitely died. So she did save his life. So there is that. So she did do a good deed, at least to begin with. But unfortunately, she was batshit crazy in the beginning, as we find out. You know what she had done when she worked at the hospital as a head nurse, and um, to a degree. I mean, we don't know this what exactly she did or how she killed the babies, but she killed babies. So yeah,
oh,
that's
oh
crazy.
yeah. And speaking of which, I kind of wish we got more backstory on her, like
Yeah,
how she became the way she is. Why was she killing babies?
well, I mean, I don't know if you ever get a story of how someone is crazy. I mean, but yeah, I mean that story would be interesting. I mean, they could
well,
explore
we
it, and
kind of
it's too
get
bad they never explored it in like a prequel or whatever. But for this movie, we got enough background. Um, I'd say, but like I said, if
there
they want to
is
do a prequel or something, that would have been interesting because she's definitely
there
an interesting character to say the least.
there is something that was done It was a season 2 of a mini series that was
Oh,
done.
Castle Rock.
Yeah, Castle Rock. Castle Rock season 2 pretty much involves Annie Wilkes.
Oh, okay. See, I was gonna start watching it, but I wanted to watch season 1 first, and I couldn't find that without paying for it, so I didn't watch it. So what I would that is definitely on my list of things I want to watch. When I found out, I had heard of Castle Rock, but I only heard the name. I didn't know what it was about, and I found out it was Stephen King, and basically all his stories, interchanging and mixing together, which I absolutely love. I love shared universes, so I definitely want to see Castle Rock. I just haven't seen it yet, and most Stephen King shows are pretty good, like Under the Dome, and so, Stephen King's great. Now, unfortunately, I have not read the book. I haven't read a lot of Stephen King. Unfortunately, I've seen most of his movies, but I haven't read a lot. I mean, obviously, I'm not big into reading horror or even watching horror, but definitely Stephen King is one that's an exception to the rule. And I would like to visit the book sometime, possibly. So, yeah, there is that. Anyways, that's my first impression.
Mm, okay, so it's kind of ironic that it's me who chose this movie, and I am the only one here who has actually seen it for the first time today.
Well,
uh,
it's good sometimes to choose a movie that you haven't seen because it gives you a good reason to see it. A movie that you want to see and you haven't, you know.
uh,
So
uh,
that's why like that one movie that I picked. I mean, I did random rolls to pick it, but I went from a list of all movies I hadn't seen. So no matter what I chose, it would have been a movie I hadn't seen. So I can't say if it's good or not because I hadn't seen it. And the cool thing about it is, it was basically more unknown, and no one really had seen it either. So, except I think Dave may have said he
mm,
might have, but so yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely. I should probably pick more movies I haven't seen either, but I don't know. I just like talking about some movies I love. So,
uh,
and there's so
uh,
many that yeah. I like I
yeah.
like trying to pick something you haven't seen because there's a lot you haven't seen yet, and especially some epic movies. Um,
Uh,
so that's why I asked. For some reason, I was thinking of Beetlejuice earlier, and that's why I asked if you had seen it because I would have chose that if you hadn't seen it. But yeah, so I'll find something else.
yeah, I have seen that one actually. Uh, so this movie was suggested to me by a friend of mine because I'm a writer myself. So he thought I would find this movie interesting, and I really did. One thing that really surprised me is this is a Stephen King story. I was surprised it didn't have a fucked up ending. Um,
Right?
yeah, I was surprised it
I mean,
actually.
well, it wasn't a happy ending for Annie, but it was for Stephen King. It's kind of a happy ending.
Uh, yeah, I must say, since there was that moment in the movie when she said, when she said, "If I die, you die with me." So that kind of made me think that he might kill her in self-defense, and that then he might have no way to escape, and that he would starve to death or something like that.
Yeah.
I. Uh,
I mean, they didn't actually show how he got rescued after he killed
oh,
her, but you
oh
can
yeah.
assume that the wife probably came to check on her husband or whatever. Somebody came to check on him because he had gone there, and then it wasn't heard from again. So somebody definitely checked on the sheriff and probably his wife. So
Mm,
they probably found him and got him to safety. But yeah, they never actually showed him how because he kept trying to escape, and I'm thinking, where the fuck's he gonna go? He can't walk. There's snow fucking everywhere. He's nowhere close to anybody. Like, how the fuck is he gonna? Even if he escapes, you know, he probably wouldn't survive out there. Yeah.
Indeed, but yeah, when she killed the sheriff, she said something like more people will be coming soon. So I guess
Oh yeah,
someone did.
yeah. I mean, once she killed the sheriff, she knew that the sheriff would be. They'd be looking. I mean, yeah, they were looking for Sheldon too, but she was good at hiding him. But she knew she wouldn't be able to hide the fact that the sheriff had just come over, and it was time for them to check out. And in her mind, they need to be together, and it would be so romantic to die together, probably like Romeo and Juliet. Although she didn't mention Romeo and Juliet, but
uh,
that's probably what she was thinking.
he,
And of course, he has to pretend to go along with it. He was very quick on the uptake. He was very quick to try not to anger her. He was very quick to agree with her and to compliment her and not act like he was a prisoner, because he realized very quickly how unhinged she was. And well, he kept learning how unhinged, but he realized right away that she was kind of unhinged. And he was kind of in a fucked up situation where he couldn't just escape or
uh,
anything. So yeah, he definitely caught on really quick. And that's I'm sure what helped keep him alive. um and of course him killing off Misery. I'm thinking, yeah, when she gets to that, she's gonna be so pissed. And of course she is.
well, truth be told, if I was reading his novels and if there was a whole series about the same character, and if I was reading that series, and if at the end that character died, I would be kind of pissed off myself,
I
although I
agree. I would.
wouldn't.
I would too. I mean, there's plenty of ways to end a story without killing off the main character. I mean, I understand he wants to write other stuff. Cool, but you didn't need to kill her off.
E-
Um,
e-
and he
e-
lives happily ever after is a classic. But again, you don't have to go that route either. But I'm just
e-
saying there's plenty of things you can do without killing the main character off. I don't think
e-
it's right that they kill a main character off like they did with Buffy. Luckily, that was brought back by another network, but they did it with Buffy and they did it with spoiler alert, Xena, and
yeah.
it's other series that they've done it with, and it just kind of sucks. I mean, maybe not everyone's gonna live through it, and that's expected. But the main characters, they did that in the Magicians as well, and I'm just not a fan of them doing stuff like that. It just kind of sucks. They actually killed
Yeah.
off him in the end of the fourth season and it went 5 seasons. So um, yeah, they
When
killed
they
off the
don't
main
tie
character.
shit when they don't tie shit off, it makes me irritated.
It makes me irritated when they don't tie shit off too, but um, just as irritated when they kill him off too. I mean, it's just like God, um, you know. But
Mm,
yeah, so I agree. I
it-
mean, but I wouldn't have gone batshit crazy on the dude. I would have been a little upset.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
if I had him there, I might say like, dude, why'd you kill him? Why'd you kill her or him or whatever? I might like talk and be like, I don't think that was a good choice and give my opinions on it. As you
yeah,
I
but
notice, I'm good at giving my opinion. But
uh,
yeah, I definitely wouldn't be going batshit crazy about it. I mean, hey, I told George Lucas's son how much I hated Jar Jar Binks, so.
uh, yeah, I heard many people hate that character, but I was personally okay with him.
Well, you were a kid too. A lot of people that were kids when they watched the movie were a fan of it. I kind of get that, but I was not a kid when I saw it. So,
I wasn't a kid when I saw it, and I thought Jar Jar Binks was the only character that was carrying the fucking shit.
and of course we have Dave, who's just a weirdo anyway. So there you go.
No, because I'm not the only one who liked Jar Jar
Weirdos
Binks.
and weirdos and kids like
Tammy,
Jar
didn't
Jar
you like
Binks.
Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Like I said, weirdos and kids.
We're
Uh,
not weird when you're the only one who doesn't like him.
I'm not the only one who doesn't like him. I may be the only one on this podcast,
Okay.
but trust me, there's billions of people out there that don't like Jar Jar.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I've heard
haven't
of
found
many.
one yet.
Oh, you ain't
I've
fucking
heard
with
of
the middle
many
class.
people hating him,
I'm
but
right here.
Yeah.
but I never hated him. If there is anything I really hate about
I mean,
Star
the
Wars,
actor actually have had death threats, and again, that's a little batshit crazy and fucked up. I wouldn't do
yeah.
that to the actor. I mean, he played a part. Just because you don't like the character, that's okay. You don't like the character, that's fucked up. But yeah, he had death threats. So again, definitely not the only one. And Rose did too. As a matter of fact, had death threats. Yeah, I didn't care for her character too much. I mean, she was all right. She was no Jar Jar though.
uh, Yeah, if there is one thing I hate about Star Wars, it's that Disney has recently been turning it into bullshit woke propaganda. But
Disney's turning everything fucking woke, which sucks.
yeah, but okay, maybe we should go back to this movie.
Probably. We don't want to go down the rabbit hole
Uh, yeah.
any further.
One more thing I wanted to say about Annie Wilkes is that if she was really the number one fan of Paul Sheldon, she would have had a handmade statue of him, one like this. Okay, I'm sorry.
Felicia, look out. You know, your stalker's here.
Yeah, although I would like to say,
And his
okay, this
name
is
is Andy Wilkes.
what did you say, Dave?
I said his name is Andy Wilkes.
Maybe you should have had the name number one fan.
Maybe. But one thing I'd like to say, although okay, that's not a criticism against this movie, but generally, I kind of wish the media wouldn't make it seem like all extreme fans of some celebrity are psychos who would rape or murder the person they like. I personally am very prone to fanaticism, and I never thought of trying to do any harm to anyone I like.
Well, you're not
So,
batshit crazy.
yeah, but that's what I mean. Whenever they portray any extreme fan of a celebrity, they portray them as batshit crazy, as criminals, rapists, murderers, and stuff like that. Come on, we are not like that.
Some are. Like I said, the person that played Rose in the newer Star Wars movies and Jar Jar, both have gotten death threats. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's hatred. That's not being their fan. That's the opposite.
Well,
I'll just
still,
wait until we get to my choice.
I love you. I love you to death. You ever heard that?
Uh, maybe is that another movie?
No,
Well,
it's the same, but
there's also
it's
films like The
it,
Crush
it just they take it
or Vanilla Sky.
swim fan.
Sorry, Dave. Which movie did you say before Vanilla Sky?
There's The Crush.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I saw that one.
Yep. Fatal Attraction, swim fan.
Yeah, Swim
Fate-
Fan. I was thinking of, but my choice that I'm going to in a couple of weeks is Paparazzi.
Oh, sorry. Another horror movie. Oh boy.
No, it's not a horror movie. It's a thriller.
Same
Ooh,
thing.
Interesting.
Horror, thriller, same thing.
uh,
Did anybody pick comedies?
Uh, have I ever picked a comedy? Not sure. I
I don't
I
think you
think
have yet.
yeah. Although when it was Christmas time, I was going to pick Violent Night, but apparently it was still difficult to find.
That's
So,
not a comedy.
uh, sorry, what did you say?
That's not a comedy.
It is a little
Violent, Violent Night. That movie with Santa Claus kicking some lobster's asses. That's not a comedy.
No.
bit.
Well, I haven't seen it, but judging by the trailer, it did look like a comedy to me.
Well, that's
It's a
because you're
comedy
twisted.
slasher.
It's because you're twisted, buddy.
What?
It's a comedy slasher. Comedy would
Oh,
be like Welcome to Mooseport or
oh,
Portchester.
well,
Any
oh,
didn't
Adam
we do
Sandler
that one
movie
already?
that's about Jim Carrey,
uh, yeah, I think I
Robin
see what.
Williams.
Ben
Okay, not
Stiller.
Andrew Robin Williams, but
Yeah, I can't help it. I kind of like dark comedies or horror comedies.
I like. I mean, I just try to be a little more versatile than you guys do. I pick action, science fiction, comedy, and I've even got a couple horror in there. So
uh, okay, yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, granted, there's a few genres I stay away from, but it's because I don't like them.
Uh, well, okay, a while ago, okay, that's not a comedy, but Succubus Hellman had quite a bit of humor, in my opinion, at least.
Well, I mean, any movie can have some humor in it, but doesn't make it a comedy.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
original
true.
the original theater version of Justice League had way more comedy than Zack Snyder's version. Still wasn't a comedy, but you know, just made it more kiddie friendly and more Marvel like than DC like.
Well, let's get back to the movie.
Yeah, we keep digressing all the time. Uh,
Well,
so,
keep us on track, Mr. Host.
yeah, sorry. So, was there anything else I wanted to add about my first impressions? Okay, yeah, one more thing. Although I did enjoy this movie and the actress definitely did a great job, maybe I would have found it a little bit more exciting if the Psycho Woman was played by some sexy actress, but okay.
No, I think she was perfect for the role.
Uh, yeah, she was just okay. If she was sexy, the whole impression of her would have been much different. But yeah, I kind of like sexy psycho women in movies.
I do too, but there's so many of them that it's actually a nice change that they didn't go with a sexy. And to some people, maybe she is sexy. Not gonna judge anyone. Um, but
Okay, good point.
it's nice that they didn't go that route and kind of went with an underdog. I think to try to maybe have a few people maybe feel bad for her, and in this certain moments that you do feel
I
bad for
think
her, but
I think that she was comely looking in here. It's not that she was sexy, and it's not that she was ugly. She was comely and looking more like a stay-at-home mom kind of figure.
not to insult stay-at-home moms.
Well, a woman who had been alone for quite a few years. Her husband had left her. And it's not that she let herself go, but she was definitely stuck in her beliefs, you know. So
Mm, yeah. Uh,
And she was batshit crazy.
uh, yeah, like the story about her husband and so on, it kind of does explain her over attachment to a celebrity she likes, but it doesn't explain murdering babies at
Well,
hospitals.
it wasn't just the husband. You know, she grew up and like you said, she didn't have a lot of friends. And
and
that
actually,
all because of
if
her
you
temper.
actually if you actually looked at the newspaper clippings like later on, her husband actually like
Was
drove
killed.
off.
Yeah, so she probably murdered him too. That's my assumption.
Who?
Or she drove
Interesting.
him away.
Or she drove him away. I mean, she said that he left her. Well, leaving her can be a whole matter of
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah, he died. He left her. He died because she killed him. And in her sick and twisted mind, he left her. You know, even
Yep.
though she's the one that did it.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh,
The twisted mind is very interesting. That's what I like about movies when you have just someone that's just so twisted. I mean, okay, Jason and
Anyone
Michael
else?
Myers, they're twisted. They're twisted, but they don't have anything redeemable about them. Whereas she, you definitely there's parts where you could feel bad for her, and then you almost feel like she was redeemable in some ways. Um, so I mean, she's twisted, but she's just not going on killing sprees. She seems to live a semi normal life, a bit odd, of course, until you find out
A
what she's done in the
semi-secluded
past.
life
But
too.
you know,
A semi-secluded life too. You know, because
well,
she
that's what I
lives off.
said. Semi normal. Well, I mean, I live a secluded life, so I'm not trapping favorite authors and um, trying to kill them.
yeah. Uh, so, uh, we should maybe start with the plot, huh?
Yep.
So, at the beginning, we have Paul, the main character, a novelist who is supposedly a big celebrity in this story. So he is the author. Sorry, what?
Basically, Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it seems like. He wrote kind of like he was the main character, but he changed his name.
Mm, possibly.
That's what it seems
Mm,
like to me.
He would
y-
often use a writer or a novelist
Oh
in
yeah, I mean
his
Salem's Lot. He did the main character is writer in Salem's Lot.
in Bag of Bones. He did too. So
Yeah, but I mean
uh,
he's a writer, so they say write what you know, and obviously he knows about writers because he's a writer.
yeah, so he wrote this novel series about a character named Misery Chastain, which kind of makes me think who on earth would name their child Misery. What the hell is the deal with that name to begin with? Uh,
Misery Chastity, wasn't it?
sorry, what?
I think her full name was Misery Chastity.
no, it was Chastain.
Okay,
Chastain, yeah.
that was close.
Uh, yeah, so as he wants to write some other stories, for some reason he decides to kill his main character off, which like I already said, I think he was a dipstick to make that decision to begin with. But okay.
I
Uh,
don't.
Because you're a dickhead.
No, I just can only stand a character for so long.
Then stop reading it.
I
Don't want
think
to ruin it for
I
the rest
think
of
he
us that
killed her
enjoyed
off
it.
because he wanted to do something else. He
You
didn't
could
want to
do
just be
something else without killing the character off. You don't need to kill a
yeah,
character off.
yeah, you can conclude the story without killing the main character.
But then he would be servicing the public, then and to me, if he wants to kill her off, let him. He's the writer. If people don't
Uh,
like it, you don't have to read it, and you don't have to like it.
And you don't have to read it that they don't kill him off either. So you can play that game.
Mhm.
uh, yeah, so while he is traveling home after a meeting with his literary agent, he gets caught by a crash and
Well, he's actually driving a little bit too fast in that Stang of his.
And he was a complete fucking moron too. When he starts sliding, he reaches over to grab his book, where the book would have just was inside a bag and would have just fallen on the floor of the car, and that would have been it. You know, instead of his whole car fucking flipping over, making the book go flying as well as himself and almost killing himself. So he was a complete moron trying to save the book from falling on the floor when it was inside that leather bag. So nothing would have actually have happened to the book because it was safe inside the fucking bag, you know. And I don't know what was on his floor that was so bad that he didn't want it on the floor, but you know, it was just absolutely stupid for him to put one hand off the wheel when you know he's already sliding in the fucking snow, um, and to grab it. So yeah, I definitely thought that was absolutely retarded. But you know, people are stupid. So just because he's a good writer doesn't mean he's a smart driver. Because obviously he's not. He's driving too fast in the snow, and he's not paying attention to what he's doing. And he reaches over to save his book and ends up, you know, almost
So
killing
do we
himself.
all believe that he got into this accident because of his own stupidity?
uh,
Yeah, I think he was driving that vehicle in that snow and as fast as he was driving. That's three things
uh,
right there.
uh,
And
no,
that's not even
And
mentioning
grabbing the book.
uh,
that's not even mentioning the taking the hands off the wheel for the book. Okay, he
he
already had it up against him before that.
he didn't have an accident because of his stupidity. He had a spoo down because of his stupidity. Sorry.
Wow!
Spoo down, yeah. Sorry, I had to.
And that was
Uh,
quite a scudo. He like flipped his car several times, and it looked like he should have been dead.
He was busting a
kind of,
surprise.
yeah.
If she would have come along, he probably would have been dead.
Oh, he would have. I mean, like I said, all in all, she did save his life.
Uh, yeah, technically she did.
She did save his life. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So that's when Annie Wilkes appears. She gets him out of the car and brings him to her house, which is in the middle of nowhere. And she does it apparently with the intention to help him recover. But yeah, we saw what happened next.
Well, yeah, she ends up going and buying like uh, uh his latest book, and she's all excited. And while
Well,
she
first
while
she
she's
asked
getting
if she could
better,
read his newest transcript that she happened to notice was there, and you know he made the comment that that's only for his editor. his family and anyone that saves his life, because I'm just like me,
that's uh,
you know. So,
that's a valid point.
and of course, that's when she first was like, kind of, you first kind of saw how great. Well, she did mention too that because you said it was lucky that she found him. She's like, no, not really. I was kind of following you. And she said she sat out his house and was looking up at the window and wondering what he was thinking. So right there, you kind of think, okay, she takes the fandom a little too far. That's stalking, Still hadn't shown that she's really, really not yet. But definitely, she was a little off there. And then when she first says how she reacts to the cursing, and she starts to flip out. This is when you first start to see, okay, she's even more unhinged than you think, and yeah. So
Oh yeah,
it's,
that was
there are definitely little hints here and there of how unhinged she is, and it just gets worse and worse the more he stays there and interacts with her.
yeah, I must say the part about the cursing was kind of stupid. Like, regardless of her fanaticism, what is the big deal
Oh,
with?
it's a big thing in America, dude. Big thing. There are so many times that they'll show any kind of murder, mayhem, people being shot, and it's not a big fucking deal. But you
Well,
have swearing in parents
my
get
own
upset.
parents, my dad has absolutely smacked me for even swearing at times growing up,
Mm.
and
Yep.
I know my mom says I did not bring you up to have you speak that way or shit like
Mm,
that.
It's
yeah,
fine to
but I
chop
mean,
someone's head off, but don't say fuck you to them.
movies are full of words like fuck, shit, whatever.
Yeah, and any movie that
If
does
I
that,
say shit in front of my mom, she gives me a dirty look.
There,
Trust
there's
me.
there, there's all those parents out there that are freak out that their kids are watching some movie that has swears in it. They don't care that heads are being chopped off or mutilations or anything like that. No, the big deal is swearing. I've always thought that was fucking retarded,
It
and
is.
but so I agree it shouldn't be a thing, but unfortunately it is a big thing. So that is the fact that she's batshit crazy on top of the swear thing makes sense. And she's supposedly a Christian because she's wearing a cross
I
and she talks about talking to God and everything. So yeah,
oh yeah,
it
apparently
definitely it definitely makes perfect sense to me that she would not like swearing.
yeah, apparently God encouraged her to do all that shit.
And she only answers to him.
Exactly, cause
uh,
she's actually crazy.
yeah, actually, it's interesting to notice in this movie we had her, and in The Mist we had Mrs. Carmody, who was also a batshit crazy religious person.
She
So,
wasn't as batshit. I mean, she was crazy. I want to see if she was batshit
Oh,
crazy.
she
She was
was bad.
definitely crazy, and the situation made her worse. Like I don't think she was as bad as she became, but just like all the people followed her, she became worse as more of the situation scared the hell out of her. So she clinged more onto her beliefs, and those beliefs became more prudent to the situation
mm,
than what she may have normally
And
been.
she
Because
fully
before
believed she was like
she just kind
brainiac
of
stuff.
spouted off about crazy stuff, But when the situation turned that way, it started making her think even more like, oh, this is like
People started believing
revelations
her
in the
because
Bible, and this is like the end days, and we need to appease the God, and somehow she turned in Christianity into an old paganism with rituals and stuff, which is kind of weird. But
yeah, actually, it is kind of weird because I read almost all of the Bible, and although
yeah,
there
there was no
really is
sacrifice. There
some
was no. The only sacrifice was Jesus, and he made it himself supposedly to save everyone's souls.
yeah, although the Old Testament really does have some messed up stuff, as
Oh
far as
yeah,
I
the Old
remember.
Testament is definitely messed up. which is why the other woman said, that's enough Old Testament for me, because
Yeah, yeah,
so
but
I've read it myself.
even in the Old Testament, God actually, I think He forbids human sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a Christian thing at all. So, like I said, she was crazy, but I think her situation made her crazier. But I don't
Mm,
think she was batshit crazy like Annie Wilkes is. Like Annie,
mm,
like I mean, it seems like from the way she talks, she's been batshit crazy from being a kid, even as a kid, because she said her temper made her not be liked and stuff. So, um, yeah, we don't know any stories about when she was a kid, but um, yeah, we can just assume that she was crazy from the beginning, and maybe she was born crazy. Who knows? I mean, they always do all kinds of study about what makes someone tick and what makes them go crazy, or if they start crazy or what. And I don't think there's anything conclusive for everything. So, yeah,
Well,
it's
even
very
in
interesting.
Stephen King's Carrie, Carrie's mother is
But she
very
Yeah,
rev-
she's fucking crazy,
I
and Carrie wasn't. Carrie was a decent girl, who was kind of homely, and people like to fucking pick on her, and they pushed her to the fucking limit, and she exploded. And unfortunately, she had all this power that, of course, nobody knew about, and that she didn't even really know, and she didn't obviously couldn't control it. It wasn't her fault that she did that. It was just
And then you've got the opposite of crazy
yeah,
Christian lady and Mother Abigail in The Stand. You know, she was like your Christian old lady that you really wanted to know. You know,
yeah. I mean, exactly. She was a very nice lady. I mean, Abigail was basically the good versus the Las Vegas bad. I don't understand. The thing that sucks is why does the bad seem so much more fun? Like I'd rather be in Las
uh,
Vegas than fucking Oklahoma or
uh,
wherever the fuck they
uh,
went. But yeah.
this kind of this kind of does make me wonder if Stephen King has had any personal bad experiences with religious people, since he apparently likes to make them villains.
I think he likes to skate the boundaries of Christianity
Oh yeah.
when it comes to his horror films.
I mean, like the stand, he made the Christians good. They were good in that one. The she was like you just said, Mother Abigail was the the promised land. She was the like the leader of all the good souls and the good people. So he definitely didn't twist the Christians that time. But he did and some degree sounds a lot too. I mean they end up using the lead character. He had more faith in the cross than the priest did. The priest got killed by the vampire because he didn't believe in the cross as much as the main character did, even though he was a
Hmm.
priest. He didn't believe his own shit that he was feeling,
Uh,
basically. So
yeah.
because in most vampire stories, you have to really believe in the cross for it to work, for it to repel the vampire. It isn't just the symbol that repels them; it's your faith in the symbol that repels them.
Uh, Actually, funnily enough, I have something like that in my own writing. There is also, as you know, in my unpublished novels, the main characters are something like agents of the devil, and religious artifacts are like their kryptonite. And yeah, whenever someone is attacking them, they actually do need power of faith in order to be able to hurt them with those artifacts. And yeah, I also in the third and the fourth book, I also wrote a crazy priest character who was a temporary antagonist fighting the main characters. So yeah, although I personally didn't have any horrible experiences with religious people, I do find it funny stereotypes to play with in my writing.
Lots of people do.
But anyways, back to Annie Wilkes.
Yeah. Uh, where did we leave off?
Well, I believe we were at the
She
part
was
where,
reading. She just bought his book and
yep,
wanted to read it. His newest book.
yep.
Oh,
So she did end up reading his book over time, and she ultimately got mad at the ending
Mad.
because
That's an
it,
understatement.
it's she went psycho. In
Yeah,
fact,
that's a better adjective.
and then she came
She
back
woke
all
him up.
she came back all compliant, saying that okay, you've got to burn the book. But I like this part because she is while she's like talking to him, she's like squirting the gasoline on to him while she's speaking, like she is.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you don't burn your book, I'm burning you. She never said it, but she implied it.
oh
And
yeah.
he realized that. Like you saw a look on his face, like he was
And I think this is
so
like
hurt.
the first movie that I'd actually ever seen an actually old grill like brought into a room, and then they light this. She lights the book on fire, and it
They fucked up.
literally.
They actually fucked up in that scene. There's a scene where up in the top corner of the curtain caught on fire. She never put that out. She walked out of the room with the thing and stuff. She'd put out the rest of the fire, but that she had never put out. So technically, that should have kept burning. But of course, it didn't because that was the plot in the movie. But I'd say it's a plot hole because they forgot to put it out. Yeah,
Huh.
which I know is just time.
Interesting. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
They didn't put it out because it went out.
No, it didn't.
Oh.
They never showed it go out or anything. It was still on fire and it was going good and it was, gonna definitely go more. The fire wouldn't have just gone out, dude. There's no
See, I
way.
saw it go out.
No, it didn't. It didn't go out. Not
I
the one I'm
agree.
talking.
I agree with
Not
Kroll. I saw
not
it
the one
too.
I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about was top left hand
I saw it
corner.
start on fire, but then I saw it again, and it was she had actually.
No, when she went out of the room, it was still burning.
Yes, it was.
Well, regardless, she had a
Thank you,
burn the
Tammy.
book. She came back with a typewriter and some paper that he wasn't happy with.
You forgot about the razor.
What happened with the razor?
She gave him an electric razor so he could shave himself because she had been shaving him with a rail razor.
And I think while she was out, he noticed that there was a bobby pin on the floor.
Yeah.
While he had her go back out for the proper paper, he took that bobby pin and he unlocked the door. And then he went like,
Yeah, I remember where he said, it can't be that hard to write about it. And then he did it and goes, what do you know? It works. So he had wrote about it, but he never had actually done it, So he actually learned from his own writing.
Oh yeah, by the way, I think we forgot to mention, unless this was later, but I think it wasn't, when we saw that she has a pig that she named after the character that she
I
likes.
think that was before. You're right. I think that was a little before.
Yeah.
She brought the pig in to show him, and she said she named it Misery, and she was so happy when she got the pig, and yeah.
Yeah, I must say I laughed at that, but at the same time I thought, if my novels ever become popular, I hope no one will name a pig.
I was actually surprised she didn't name him after him.
Nice one.
Well,
Oh,
she
hey,
is
Polly.
obsessed with him.
Hey, Polly.
Yeah, I mean, she was obsessed. I mean, the thing about it is, it's like she said she's his number one fan. He wrote stuff before Misery, but it seems like she was his fan, but then just became even more a fan of that particular character than she was of him. Because always she was a fan of him because she knew everything he did. You know, like she knew there was no copy. Like he tried to say, "Oh, there's plenty of copies," and she knew there wasn't because she
Of
knew.
course, if you focus only on one particular writer, you can be obsessed about, certain subjects. Um, I mean, it just depends on how obsessed you get.
See, that's
You
why it's
know,
good. I read Star Wars. I read Dragonlance. There's many writers. There's some I like more than others, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely like some. There's some great writers out there. Or whatever, but
people
I've never
thought I
read
was
stuff.
people thought I was creepy for actually like listening to like Marilyn Manson recordings.
Oh, bloody hell, people are idiots.
The
Tammy
beautiful
thought I was
people. The beautiful
Tammy thought
people.
I was weird for listening to them a while back.
I think you're weird, but you know it's okay.
Uh, okay, I have only one or
Remember,
two
I had
Marilyn
those Marilyn
Manson.
Manson recordings a while back.
Uh, I
Tammy,
have only.
What about him?
remember I was listening to Marilyn Manson and his speeches for a while.
Well, not Marilyn Manson. You were listening to Manson.
Manson.
Oh,
Manson.
Charlie Manson.
Yeah, Charlie Manson.
Oh, you
Yes.
fucking freak.
I
That's a horse of a different color.
uh,
was listening to Charles Manson and his speeches that were recorded in jail. So
oh, I thought we were talking about music.
Well, you said Marilyn Manson. That's a different story.
I'm
Yeah.
Right.
Marilyn Manson was
Charlie
just you know, kind of a fruity metal you know, I mean I liked his music. The person is definitely a fruitcake.
but
But
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson, that's a horse of a different color. He was a
Yes.
fruitcake and he was batshit crazy asshole fucking satanic dick. And I knew a guy that looked exactly like him and was just as nuts too. He tried. He put a fucking knife up to my fucking neck for no reason.
Seriously.
Seriously.
And you say he physically resembles Charles Manson.
He looked just fucking like him.
Jeez. Okay, that's
Could
scary.
almost be his fucking twin.
Ouch.
The only thing he
Sorry.
didn't have the pentagram on his forehead.
Sorry to hear you had such an experience.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
fucked up. When I heard he died, I fucking celebrated.
wait, that guy who put a knife at your throat.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I do have a few satanic ornaments in my room, but I never tried to kill anyone.
Well, I never tried to kill anyone either. Not in real life.
Okay, I have killed people in my books.
I've killed plenty of
Killed
people in video
my
games.
dreams, but never in my
I've killed a
reality.
ton of gungings saying "Die Jar Jar" in Star Wars games.
Oh, you horrible serial killer.
I actually like gungings. I just hate Jar Jar. They're
You
not as
did not-
awesome as Ewoks, but you know, Ewoks rule.
Yeah. I like Ewoks. They are cute.
They're awesome.
Anyways,
They call murder bears in my game.
back to misery.
Yeah, yeah.
Evidently, we don't like living in the misery story.
Misery. You heard
uh,
on your shoulders. Misery.
what
But
song is that? Uh,
Nazareth does a good song called Miss Misery.
oh,
Yeah, I
okay,
was doing Metallica Misery though.
okay. Uh, yeah, where did we leave off? We were at what's the English word for it?
Saw the
well,
pig, and then
I guess
she had
I
him
guess the
burned.
old saying that misery loves company is real when it comes to this movie.
And
Yeah.
she had him burn the book, and then she bought him a typewriter and the wrong paper, and then he got the bobby pin, and he gets out of the room, and he travels all around the house, and he finds his shrine, and he ends up going to the kitchen, and he sees another door, and so he gets himself out of the wheelchair and crawls over to it, and of course that one's locked as well.
Like you can't fucking see that it's locked from there, you know.
You're
Not that
just
kind of
going by
lock,
what
no.
I said. I said that when we were watching it. It's like, why did he get out of the chair and go over there? Couldn't he see that it was locked?
I think with those kind of locks, you couldn't tell because they locked from the inside as well. They didn't have the little button on it or whatever, or
Right.
the
He should
twist
have seen
button.
that it was just a key lock. So why wait? Why
Right.
lock?
So he was hoping that it wasn't locked because it might not have been locked because she didn't, you know. And of course, this is where he sees the
Also
knives, but
finds
he
that
doesn't
album.
he doesn't ground. But he hears her car come in. This is where he bolts. Oh wait, no, that was the second time. Never mind. Yeah, he ends up going. He leaves the kitchen, then he goes into the little room and he finds the pills, and that's when he puts some in his pants to um.
And
Well,
that's when he realizes that she's pulling up in the drive.
Oh yeah, yeah. I must say, I thought it was a little bit unrealistic that in the wheelchair and everything he managed to.
actually, that was the second time as well.
Uh,
The first time he just goes back into his room and then she comes home. The second time, yeah, he was rushing against her, and it was like, yeah, definitely. I don't think realistically he would have beaten her, um, coming from where he was back to his room, closing the other door, and I mean, she did drop the papers, which I guess is realistic, but still, I don't think it was very realistic. I don't think
he,
there's any way he could have beat her.
yeah, he wouldn't have had enough time for all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But for the story wise, it was still fun. It was still interesting, and definitely a couple plot holes, but you can forgive those.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tammy said something while we were watching. Like she's gonna fucking notice that penguin is not
Oh,
facing the
I
right.
did too. I did too. I was like, she's
Oh,
gonna. It was probably because we remembered watching it, even though we didn't consciously remember it, but subconsciously we remembered that she freaked out about it, because she does mention it. But yeah, I mean, she's that type. If you saw
uh,
how everything is placed, it's like everything seems to be placed
uh,
in a certain way, and I know people that are like that. One of my best friend, Jeff. He's like that. If something's a little out of place, he freaks out. Like I
uh,
remember he
oh,
freaked out because I moved a fucking book. I'm like,
but
dude.
you know what? I think that's actually another plot hole because since that moment when he put that penguin back wrong, apparently a lot of time passed. He wrote quite a bit of the
No,
new
that
book
wasn't a black.
before.
She said the first time you escaped, he goes, I know you were out twice, but I couldn't figure out how. She never said anything the first time. She was trying to
Oh,
figure out how he escaped before she said anything. So, yeah, she did mention that he had escaped twice, and that she noticed the first time she noticed the penguin. So she just
so she just didn't
yeah, she
say
just didn't
anything.
say anything the first time because she was
Oh,
trying to figure out how he escaped, and that's when she had found the bobby pin after the second time.
Yeah,
oh,
after she realized he was up the second time, she went and she gave him that shot that made him pass out, and then she found the bobby pin because when he grabbed that big knife, I even said to David, I said that's his second mistake. The first one was the penguin. The
Yep.
second one was the big knife. Like
Yeah, when you got that
noticed
big knife,
that
I'm
big
like, she's
ass
gonna
knife
notice
gone.
that fucking knife missing, dude.
oh
You're not
yeah.
gonna, you can't grab a big ass knife like that, especially with a psychopath like her.
Yeah, I also thought it was a bit unrealistic of him
Yeah,
to
like
expect her
he,
not to notice that.
yeah, he would have been better off grabbing a fork from the drawer and hoping she didn't notice that, than a big ass knife.
You see,
Yeah.
I'm somewhat like if it's my things, ask David. If it's something of mine, I'll definitely know if he moved it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people like that, and she's definitely like that, and she's batshit crazy. So,
Uh, it,
Ditto.
in my in my case, it depends. There are some things that I maybe wouldn't notice if they were
yeah, I
placed
don't know. So
differently.
sometimes
Uh,
I'm like, oh, didn't I have this here or something or whatever? I mean, sometimes I know exactly where something is, but most of the
Tammy's
time I
that
don't know
way
where
because
shit
she's
is.
batshit crazy too.
Yep. I was thinking that. Just gonna say it. I'll let you say it.
I must be.
but
I've been with you almost 15 years.
There you go. At least she has an excuse.
Whatever you say, Mrs. Welch.
oh,
I'm gonna say that too loud. You might find yourself. You might wake up to a piece of wood between your legs and a hand, sledgehammer in her
oh,
hand.
ouch.
She's the one who, while that part was going, she had to look away.
Doesn't mean she can't go and do it. But just lets her look away when she does it.
uh, uh, Tammy, you need to give us a photo of yourself with a big ass hammer in your hands.
The sledgehammer.
Okay.
She agreed to that too quickly. Just a little bit too quickly. She agreed to that one.
Yeah, she said okay really quick, which means she'd actually do it.
I mean, she already been thinking about it. Might
I'm
want
just
to run now,
messing
Dave.
with you, babe.
Well, you still can.
In any case, moving on. So I guess we do kind of need to talk about that scene because she really does. Actually, there are a couple of scenes that she does really well. There's a night where apparently it's raining, and he asks her what's
Oh,
up,
that is really good. See?
and she said basically, uh, you know, he's almost done with the novel. He's almost done getting better. He won't want to stick around much longer, and he's trying to convince her, "Hey, I like it here," you know. And she's like, "Hey, I know you're trying to make me feel good, but you don't know what it's like to love someone like I do."
You don't know what it's
Uh,
like to lose. You don't know what it's like to lose someone like you, is what she said.
yeah,
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she had said
and
that first she loved him as a writer, as a writer side, but now she loves him for him.
yep, and she pulls out a gun and says, sometimes I look at this from time to time.
And
I
I think
take
about
out
using it,
the
and
sometimes
then you know, and then she says, "I gotta go, or I'll put some bullets
put
into
some
it."
bullets.
And then she takes off in her vehicle.
Yeah, in some fucking house robe or some shit, you know.
Yeah, and
So
this is the second time he escapes from the room. And that's when he gets the knife and stuff, and everything. So, um, because he realized. So, yeah, she's gone. She's definitely. Or she already knew. He already knew she was batshit crazy, but now she's got a gun, and she definitely has bullets, even though at the moment it's not loaded.
and
So
she
yeah,
has
he
this great.
realizes that he's got to figure out somehow to get out of there. I really love the look on his face when he invites her to dinner and she spills the fucking wine over after
Put
he worked,
down.
he worked so hard at saving up those pills and and put it into the paper and put it into her drink and everything, and he did such a great job and she spilled it over.
Like,
His
how the
look on
fuck
his
did he
face
find
like,
out?
I'm just screwed, like I'm
Uh,
so fucked, like he was just,
uh,
yeah, he was definitely good acting. I mean, he definitely, his facial expressions said so much. So he definitely did a really awesome job. Um,
And she did
not
an awesome job
not to
too.
discredit him, she still stole the scenes. I mean, she was just so fucking
Well, yeah, especially when
great.
she came back
She
with
was
that
just so
mining.
fucking great that she stole all the scenes, but not to say that he didn't do a good job, because he did. He definitely did a great job, and like I said, he played the character very smart too. I mean, he didn't flip out. He didn't. The only time he said fucking crazy bitches when she wasn't around. He played into everything. He played into as much as he possibly could. Um, because he was smart. You know.
Yeah.
Wasn't a smart driver, but he was smart.
Well, anyways, when he woke up that one day, and she came into the room, and he was looking for that knife, and she told him that mining story. You know what? You know what they used to do
Hobbling.
yeah, they used to, in order to keep their miners in the mine,
oh yeah.
and keep them working, is that they would hobble them. So
And then
she
she
stuck
puts
a
the
fork
thing there,
between
and
the
he was
legs,
like,
and she
"Whatever
took
you
a
think of
sledgehammer,
doing, please don't do it."
and they showed just enough to make you like look away, at least the first time, because you saw
Oh,
that foot.
Oh, she
Uh,
smashes her foot, and the whole thing fucking smashes the other opposite way, and she did it on both sides. It's fucked. It's such a fucked up scene. I looked away the first couple times I watched too. I saw it. I
uh,
didn't look away this time. I watched the whole thing, and it's just so fucking gruesome.
uh,
But I actually
it,
finally got to actually see the whole thing because I
it,
kept looking away.
uh,
It's just so.
it, it was fucked up, although personally I have seen worse in movies than that.
I have
yeah,
two, but
because
it's just.
you and I have both seen all of
I've
the
seen way worse, but
movies.
the way they
Uh,
did this one, it feels worse. You know what I mean? I mean, I've seen heads being chopped off, all kinds of things that you would definitely consider worse, but
uh,
somehow this still seems more fucked up. It's just
did
the way
you
they did it. They did it
did
so
you
well.
did you watch Audition?
No.
I have
Uh,
audition, I just haven't seen it.
okay, if you do want to watch it, go for it. But honestly, I hope we never do that one here.
Uh-oh, looks like
Uh,
we'll have.
Crow will hate you even more than I if you do that because that's a Japanese movie, so Crow would have to watch it with subtitles. Uh, okay, but Crow, did you watch I Spit on Your Grave?
No. Heard of it.
Uh,
And I haven't seen
okay,
I Spit on Your Grave too either.
uh, then yeah, we have seen some more fucked up stuff than this, and
I
maybe you
told you I've
didn't.
seen plenty of fucked up things. I mean, you're just mentioning a few I haven't seen, but yeah, I've seen plenty of fucking more fucked up things. But again, the way they did this one, this is just like I watched more fucked up things and they didn't affect me, whereas this one affected me. Just the way they did this one, but Stephen King's a master at it. That's why he's the master of horror.
Yeah, he is.
He just does things to and it really brings it home to people. He brings the fucked up and it just really it just nails it home for everybody. I don't know how he does it, but he just does, and every time he just knocks
And
it
the
out of the
fact
fucking
that
park.
this is directed by the man that we all thought was a schlub in All in the Family makes it all the more fucked up.
Meathead. Rob
Yeah.
Reiner is an incredible director and producer, or was didn't he die?
Rob Rainier.
Reiner said it right
Um,
the first 10 times.
I believe his father is dead. I'm not sure if he is
I
yet.
thought he died. I don't even know who his father is.
I know he did some stuff in 2022. So
Maybe he didn't die. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was his father that died and I was mistaken. Or that's what I was thinking of. I don't know.
but yeah, after that, things kind of go a little bit more shit because
No, he's still alive.
he is still alive.
Yeah,
Now
he's
but
76.
meanwhile, the sheriff has bought all of his books and is reading up on
I know he married Penny Marshall.
actually, he didn't buy the books. He actually found like a bag of books.
No, he
Um,
bought them.
well, he found a note in one of them that he
He
thought.
wrote that note. He wrote that. Don't you remember he was laying in bed and he read that and he underlined it and then he grabbed a piece of paper and he wrote it down because he just I don't know he thought it was interesting and he wrote it and it turned out to be one of the clues that it made him figure out it was Annie that
Yeah,
had him. So like I said,
yeah, because she had
he
said
definitely
the
seemed
exact
like
same
he seemed
words.
like a country bumpkin at first. And especially when he said, "Oh, I'll put it into my system," and he puts a sticker, a note it on the billboard behind him. That was his system, And I was like, "Yeah, he's just gonna sit there and do
His
nothing,"
wife and him
And
were kind of cute
he ended
though.
up being way smarter than most cops are with all kinds of technology and stuff. So kudos to him. He was actually a great character, and he was definitely way smarter than most detectives or
Yeah, him and his wife were kind of cute together too.
oh yeah, they
Because
were definitely cute. She was
she
always
would drive
snide,
the
and
car,
he was always
and he
mentioning
was
that
like,
he
"You're.
loves her.
This is the time where I want you to be my deputy."
I loved it when she accused him of cheating on her. He
Having
goes,
an
"Oh,
affair.
I love you. I love how you think I have enough energy for another one." He doesn't deny it. He just says like he doesn't have enough energy for someone else.
Yeah, that was good. I think it kind of sucks that he died.
Oh yeah, it definitely sucked when she shot him. I was like, no, I thought she was gonna hit him over the head and maybe he'd
Yeah,
survive, but
because he
because I
went
had
and searched
forgotten.
the
It's been a
entire
while since I
house.
watched it, and then she shot him. She put a hole right fucking through him, dude. Like there's no you can survive gunshots, but yeah, you're not surviving
Yeah,
that.
Mm.
that was basically an elephant gun or some shit like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
she put a fucking bullet right through his fucking body, dude. Like there is no fucking. I mean, that's
there's no
more of a
coming
fucked up
back from
scene.
that.
That's more of a fucked up scene than the hobbling. But the hobbling is what everyone fucking remembers more than anything. Because it's again, even though that scene is more fucked up, the hobbling just seems worse.
Yeah, but when he finally gets the upper hand, that is kind of cool too.
Oh,
When,
it's definitely
Oh,
great. I thought he had her
well,
when he smashes her. Well, first he smashes her with a typewriter, which wasn't good enough. When she fell,
oh,
when she
oh,
tripped and smashed her head on the typewriter, I thought she was gone, and so did he. And she still was kept going at him. It
yeah,
took a lot for him to fucking finally kill her.
uh, yeah, I thought it was amazing. The whole
Yeah,
fight. Oh,
yeah, that fight was definitely good. But he did have the upper hand most of the time, though.
mm.
He definitely had desperation beats batshit crazy.
Yeah. Although that time when he knocked her out, I did think she
I
was.
think he might have been a little bit crazy himself. I mean, locked up all that time with her. I mean, we
Uh,
don't know exactly how long, but I assume he was there for maybe months. Um,
yeah, but
you know,
I mean, he assumed she was dead,
he
and he.
he wrote a whole book, I mean, even the
yeah.
fastest writers aren't going to write that fast, and especially where he's under that kind of conditions.
Uh,
I can't imagine him writing it too fast. So he was definitely probably there for months. So he probably was kind of a little crazy himself. So crazy and desperate
Well,
defeats
he
actually
used
crazy.
that typewriter to get his upper arm
Oh, I
stretched.
know. He was very smart. Like I said, the whole time he wasn't a smart driver. That was the one dumb thing he did that started the whole thing. But other than that, he was very smart person.
yeah.
He was very good at
Uh,
judging her in the first place.
ex-
Um, you know, he
except,
right
sorry.
yeah, right from the beginning, he was very good at judging her.
Mm,
I mean, obviously he didn't know her too well, but he picked up on things really quick, and he did everything not to upset her right from the beginning. I mean, obviously he did upset her a few times, which most of the time it was stuff that he hadn't done then. Like the book and the books, both books. It was mostly him being upset, and then him trying to escape. Because she was crazy and he didn't want to die, so he's trying
uh,
to escape. So other than that, everything he did was to try to appease her and not make her upset. So
uh,
yeah, you definitely did an awesome job at that, which so many victims don't. They don't go that way. They always go fighting and or screaming or crying or whatever, and he completely played his part perfectly. And that's
mm,
why I like the Blood Bucks. He wasn't just a dumb captive. He was very intelligent. And that's why he won. And I guess that's why Stephen King decided not to kill him. He did make
yeah.
him very smart, and he did
Except,
deserve to live.
except when he knocked Annie unconscious, he just assumed she was dead, and he tried to escape instead of hitting her a few more times to be
Well,
damn sure that
I
she
mean,
was
he
dead.
smashed her pretty hard with a typewriter. Um, I think a normal person probably would have gotten knocked up, but she's not normal, and she obviously has a very hard head. So, I can imagine. And plus, in the moment, you don't know how you would react. I'd probably do the same thing, smash her hard as I can, and get the fuck out of there. That's your only thought. You're not really. It's not a matter of being smart. It's a matter of in the moment. What's going on? Your adrenaline's pumping through pumping through you. You're fucking. You're scared. You're scared for your life. You need to get the fuck out of there. And so you're not completely thinking 100% straight. That doesn't mean he's not smart. It's just he's in the moment, and
Mm,
when you're in that moment, you don't. Adrenaline pumps through you, and adrenaline doesn't really help you in thought. It helps you in
uh,
action.
yeah, but it's such a cliche when they knock the bad guy out and you
It
assume
is a
they're
cliche,
dead,
but
and
it's 100%
then
true. It is a
yeah,
cliche, but it happens more than you think it would. I mean,
and,
it takes a lot to knock somebody out, and some people have harder heads than others. So yeah, uh, There's other movies where they show someone being knocked out and they make it so easy, but those are the fake ones because it's not easy to knock someone out unless you're Mike Tyson.
When you got a killer that just keeps coming and coming and coming, those are the most interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he killed her and she got back up. He definitely hurt her and damaged her, but you know, he didn't kill her. So yeah, it
Yeah,
makes more sense. Makes more sense than Michael Myers coming back from the dead
I
or
would
Freddy or any of
prefer
the
a
others.
bad guy to be able, or a bad person to be able to, not quite die off, and still
Yeah,
have that last moment,
exactly.
than have them just fucking die, and
And if they
then
have him die and then come back to life, it's like okay, that's less realistic.
Yeah, but I did think it was pretty awesome when he eventually killed her with that big statue.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the whole fight was fucking awesome, and he definitely. I loved right in the beginning when she's like on top of him and he's pushing her eyeballs, and he actually pops the blood vessels, and you see the blood, come out of her eyes. That was such an awesome scene as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that whole fight scene was just fucking phenomenal. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely the most action in the whole movie. The movie is kind of a slower paced movie. There isn't a ton of action, because it just builds it up, and then once you finally do get the action, it just kind of gives it to you in spades. It just kind of shows, oh, this is what you've been waiting for. This is the
of course
climax. This is the
that's
climax
where
you've been
you
waiting for.
see him limping towards a cafe, where he's meeting like
His agent.
yeah, his agent, and he still sees Annie Wilkes in that.
Yeah, and then she says, "I'm your number one fan." On top of that,
Oh, oh yeah.
at that moment, I would have actually shown him piss his pants, like him smile, but then you like look down and he like pee his pants or something. I thought that would have been a nice little touch.
Oh, are you
Yes.
Just because he
are
was
you
saying
Paul
that
Sheldon?
he wasn't really over it, Because like he said that, like she's like, "Oh, I thought you were kind of over it." He's like, "You're never really gonna get over it. Like, how do you get over something like that?" Because
Uh,
when she was trying to get him to write a true story based on what had happened to him, and he's like, "Are you trying to? You want me to dredge up the most horrible thing in my life? So you can make a couple bucks?" Oh, I thought you were mostly over it. I mean, you think like when she called to see if he was okay, it's because she cared about him. No, she cares about her fucking cash cow. She cares about her cash cow. Let's face it. She was definitely your typical bitch. Fucking all she cared about was the bottom line and the almighty buck.
yeah.
I mean, it is a good thing that she cared that much for her money because she's the one that got the sheriff looking into it. Um,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
fuck up, he almost found the car right away when he fell into the hole. We didn't mention that when he was going down to the scene and he kind of fell into a hole and then he got back out and we saw as he's going up, we saw the tires sticking out behind him. The car was so buried under the snow, but we saw a tire, but he had missed it. He didn't see it, and I guess the wife, it was too far away for the wife to see it either because she didn't see it. But yeah, he had almost landed on the car, so he could have found it earlier. But yeah, he saw the car right away, and they're like, "Oh, he must have escaped." And he's like, "There's no way he escaped. Look at this. This was smashed in." So yeah, like I said, he was very smart, way smarter than any of the other police around, and way smarter than most police in a lot of movies. that detectives and have all kinds of. I mean, this is 1990s. Computers were crappy, and he didn't look like he even had a computer. Never mind a crappier one. So so yeah, he was book smart and very intelligent, and he figured it out just by reading the guy's books. Which is amazing. And he didn't even get to the last book where she kills off Misery.
Yeah. Mm.
I do, and he wasn't too dumb either, because when the cop first comes and she's like, "Oh, I had a, I was told I heard he died, but I was told I should keep on writing because I know his writing so well, and so I bought a typewriter and turned my study." Like,
Uh,
she made it everything plausible why she bought the typewriter and why
uh,
she bought the
uh,
paper,
oh
and
yeah,
she
he didn't even say that he knew she had bought some paper
yeah.
and
Yeah, but
she
she covered her tracks perfectly. Um, you know, and the way she said it, like she didn't make it look like he already knew. She just said absentmindedly, like, "Oh, I'm continuing his work, and I can't believe he's missing, but I'm going to continue his work, and hopefully he's found." But you know, um, she acted like a big fan, but not like a psychopathic fan. And she would have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for Sheldon, knocking over the barbecue and the sheriff finding it. But yeah, um, unfortunately for the sheriff, it worked out for him, but it did not work out for the sheriff. Unfortunately, it was
yeah,
definitely a shame that he died. He was definitely a great character, very very great
yeah,
character.
indeed, I was disappointed that he died.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
definitely.
I think
Mm.
we're now at the production stage, aren't we not?
Yeah, I think we are. So, what did you all think about the production? Let's start with you, Dave.
I thought the production was pretty darn good. I mean, uh, this was 1990s, so you definitely had some slow motions as far as the car accident itself. And I'm sorry. I think he got himself into this mess to begin with,
Oh, he did totally. He's an idiot.
but this movie definitely shows what kind of crazy people can become, especially if
Number
you're
one fan.
like obsessed with someone that is of some renowned fame, whether it be a writer or a politician or anyone famous for anything. You know, this is kind of like the staple movie of the obsessive fan. You know, of what things not to do. you know, uh,
Wow,
or
wow. She's
how not
fucking
to be
74 now?
obsessed. And Kathy Bates just plays the crazy oh so well.
She's fucking 74 now. I know she was that
Yeah,
old.
she was 42 when she made this film.
I didn't realize she doesn't even look that old. She looks like she's in her early 30s.
Yeah, she's 42 when she played this. So, but yeah, I thought the production and I thought the house looked like it was supposed to. I did like the fact that the people who were trying to help him on the outside were these country bumpkin people who you would think that would not know how to pick up a straw hat if they wanted to, you know, or find a needle in a haystack, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that the story was entertaining. Uh, the right kind of captivity brought out the right kind of killer instincts. So, um, and the fact that his writing could bring out that much anger in one person, you know,
Uh, yeah, that was
means that
weird.
someone's imagination can be so real to people, you know. If you can be that good of a writer to make someone go crazy,
Yeah,
then
she
you're
was
a
in she was in quite a few movies before Misery. I just looked it up because I was curious. Yeah, she was in My Best Friend is a Vampire, Two of a Kind, something called Taking Off, The Morning After, Summer Heat, Arthur 2 on the Rocks, Signs of Life, High Stakes, Men Don't Leave, Dick Tracy, White Palace. That was all before Misery.
Ooh.
okay.
Sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to mention that.
Not a problem.
I
But
saw
yeah,
her in Two and a Half Men. Of course, that was way after Misery. But yeah, she was funny as hell in Two and a Half Men for the episode she was in. Charlie.
Uh,
I mean, there were some things that you had to suspend some belief for, as far as like, you know, the wheelchair scene where you don't think that he would have been able to make it back to the room,
Yeah,
you know,
especially how the first time
that thing. But
when he had to get back into his chair and race her, and he got back into his chair pretty seemed quicker than he got back into the wheelchair quicker than he got out, and that's with both of his legs fucked up like that. There's no way he would have been able to do that. No fucking way. I've used a wheelchair, and not to mention his arm not working right. The way he's how fast he fucking used that wheelchair with a bad arm. No,
It's amazing what adrenaline can do, though.
I
uh,
agree, but adrenaline can only go so far.
Mm.
If you physically can't do something, you physically can't do something, and I understand like feats of strength and stuff like that with adrenaline. I do agree there's adrenaline, but it's definitely, I think it's pushes the boundaries
But
on
the
the
fear of
adrenaline.
what she might do if she caught him
Oh, I get it. I totally get it.
overcame how the pain.
I get it, but I'm just saying I think he could overcome the pain. I just don't think he could physically done it as fast as he did. Not that he couldn't have, but just as fast as he did.
how much he was hurting still, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, getting not thinking of the pain is one thing. Everyone can do that to a degree. Some better than others, but yeah, when it comes to actually just physically being able to do something, you know, I mean, yeah, there's feats of strength, like when a mother lifts a heavy couch up with one hand and pulls their kid out from it, that those are those stories like that, or people lifting up a car or whatever. Um, there's a friend of mine caught a car engine first when it was gonna fall and would have killed me if he hadn't done it. I mean, of course, he was 6'4" and huge, so he could actually lift it up normally, but he caught it in midair.
ooh.
So, yeah,
So, Carl, what do you think of the production?
it was good. I mean, I thought the production was great. I mean, the story is a little bit, like I said, a little bit disbelief a few areas, but other than that, the story is good and the setting it seemed perfect. I mean, it definitely seemed she was like one of those kind of neat freaks that everything has to be in the perfect place, which tends to say someone's on a little more on the crazy side over the spectrum, whatever you want to call it. Um, so her shrine to him didn't seem too bad though. Like it was definitely a shrine to him, but I've seen way worse.
Uh,
It wasn't too much. Nothing really screamed super crazy in her house, but it definitely did seem a little off, and it definitely when that scene where he compliments her on decorating, and he says, "Oh, it definitely seems like you." Um, I 100% agreed with him. It definitely does feel like her, but I don't think he really meant that as a compliment, at that particular moment. But he played it off like it was, and like I said, he was smart. It was kind of nice little dig at the same time, but making her seem like it was a compliment. um, but yeah, I thought the production was great. I thought it was everything looked good. The snow and everything. I mean, it probably was really snowing when they filmed where they filmed it and stuff. So yeah, they did a good job on the production overall. The sheriff's office and the little town, what little we got to see of it, um, you know, in the little store that she goes to. Yeah, everything looked correct. I don't think anything really felt off place, with the exception of that fire. They definitely fucked up there with the fire. But yeah, other than that, I thought the production was great.
Okay. What about you, Boris? What did you think about production?
I also thought it was pretty good. It's really interesting to notice, although, okay, that maybe doesn't have so much to do with the production as it does with the story itself, but it's interesting how much horror you can create without anything supernatural or without too much blood on screen or anything like that. How sometimes just human evil is enough to be scary. Uh, and yeah, as far as the production goes, it is good. Definitely, there is nothing I can complain about. Although the story itself didn't even require much CGI or anything. Okay, the part when she hit him in the feet with the hammer, that was quite well done. I don't know how they filmed that moment when she broke his first foot and we actually saw it on screen. That was quite well done. And yeah, of course, the fight at the end and everything. It was really good. I would just like to point out one thing, although I did kind of say it at the beginning, but I'd like to say it again. I kind of don't like how they often portray in movies that if someone is an extreme fan of someone, that then everyone looks at them as if they were a potential rapist or killer or something. I mean, like, yeah, if you have a favorite celebrity, you can actually know everything about them and collect stuff related to them and all that, and you don't actually have
This
to
sounds
be a.
personal.
Sorry, what?
This sounds personal.
Uh, Kind of, yeah. Like I said, I am kind of prone to fanaticism both when it comes to franchises and when it
And you
comes to
don't think you're crazy, but
celebrities.
then again, people who are crazy don't know they're crazy.
See,
So
people do think
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of weird if you know exactly where they live and their habits.
yeah, well, you can't know all that without actually having bad intentions and without being a potential rapist or murderer or whatever.
It's
Uh,
questionable,
Come
but
on.
I agree for the most part.
it might be an exaggeration, but
It's unhealthy for you to know too much about
yep,
someone or
it
something.
is. I mean,
too
I,
much.
I felt like George Lucas was my idol and hero for most of my life, but I don't know a ton about him.
uh, okay, but if some people do and if they don't mean any harm, then they don't deserve to be treated like criminals.
I guess it depends on what you do with the information. So,
Exactly, exactly.
but
Mm,
yeah, heading over to Tammy. What did you think about production?
Oh, I thought it was good, and they didn't really have to have anything special because a lot of it took place in that house, so they didn't have to have anything real special. And um, I think the setting was great because it was out there and like you know
The boonies.
boonies, and I like how they at first made you think that the sheriff was just gonna go, okay, thanks for calling, and stuck the name up on the wall, and that what he wasn't. He stuck the name up on the wall, and he was fiddling around with his rubber band, but he was thinking.
mm,
He was always. I got a kick out of the sheriff because he was always thinking, even if you didn't think he was. He, like you guys said, give didn't give the sheriff enough credit, and it was sad to see that he ended up dying in the end, but I don't think he was given enough credit for how smart he really was, and he was thinking things through, and um Paul Sheldon, the author Paul Sheldon, it, as a person, he probably was a very easygoing, laid back person, author, He probably never ever entered his mind to be like he ended up being in here. But she drove him to it, his survival instinct,
mm.
She drove him to turn to be like that.
Yeah, you can't blame him for ending up with PTSD after that.
But yeah, it's true, like true Stephen King fashion. Though you take somebody that was very mild mannered and everything else, and you put him in this situation where he's basically got to fight for his life. It definitely changes how somebody will act. And Annie, well, she was just a obsessed fan, and when she didn't get when things weren't her way, her you know her obsession turned violent. It seemed like things when you were looking at the scrapbook and seeing something. Every time something negative was in that scrapbook, it was because something negative happened, and then she turned negative, and then something else would negative, and then she would turn negative. Her reaction to everything that negatively happened in her life was to counteract that with more negativeness.
Oh,
Annie.
yeah,
So I think they did a really good job.
pretty much. Mm,
Okay. I think at this moment, we're on to either the music or what did we think about the music?
mm, as far as I heard it, although I must admit I was not paying much attention to the music when the story was quite intense, but as far as I did hear it, it was okay. It went pretty well with the movie. But yeah, it didn't draw much of my attention.
Oh, come
Okay.
on, you don't get into Liberace.
No.
Oh, oh, oh yeah, there was that. Yeah, that kind of slipped my mind.
I believe there was three songs by Liberace in it.
Uh, Liberace, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, it
yeah,
did kind of have a soundtrack to it, didn't it?
uh, yeah. Which song of his was there in the movie? Um, Liberace Piano Concerto, Moonlight Sonata, I'll Be Seeing You. That's all it says on IMDb.
Yeah, that song was at the end. I'll be seeing you always. That was at the end, but it had kind of a soundtrack to it. I mean, there were a couple of random songs throughout. Like I think there was a song that was playing while he was driving the car as well.
Oh,
Just trying to see if I can't find the soundtrack track here for a moment. Using my computer. My phone's in the other room. Ah, I guess there was Shotgun, which was performed by Junior Walker and the All Stars. And I'm assuming that was a country song, courtesy of Motown Record Company. And then, yep, the Piano Concerto 1, which was Tchaikovsky. Moonlight Sonata was Beethoven. And I'll Be Seeing You was performed by Liberace, which was the ending song, of course. And then Love Connection, which was written by Larry Grossman. So that was pretty much it. So not a whole lot of like that kind of music per se, but I know that this had a score as well. Not that some people care about the score. I know some other people on our other podcasts
well,
do.
it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, it's definitely worth mentioning as soon as I find it here. Okay, I'll cast it through. Sorry, folks. And okay, there's the cast. I'm finding the music. Music is by Mark Schauman, which he is known for his career on Saturday Night Live, where he worked with colleagues like Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal. He worked to some great stage volumes with as Eric Clapton, Rosemary Clooney, Harry Connick Jr. Oh, he worked with these people. Jennifer Holliday, Nathan Lane, Jennifer Lewis, Darlene Love. But he's known for such films as soon as it pops up here. Smash, Hairspray, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Mary Poppins Returns. I guess recently he worked on some additional lyrics in Hocus Pocus 2. But yeah, he did he was the lyricist behind the Hairspray Live thing that wasn't too long ago.
Who are you talking about?
The musical Hairspray.
No, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the guy who did the music. His
Okay.
name is Mark.
You're doing your thing.
Yep.
That's your thing.
But yeah, Mark Simon is his name.
I don't think you did. I don't think you did it for Justice League though.
I did. I
Did
think.
you? I don't think you did.
But regardless, what do y'all think about the music? I know this guy was the composer behind the music. Tammy, what did you think?
What about the music?
Yeah.
It was okay. I think it went with it. I don't know. Every time we get to this part of the movie, it's like, okay, it went with it. I mean, unless there's something like really early off the wall or something that like some soundtrack that blows my mind that I wouldn't mind going out and buying. It's like the music was the music, okay?
So you don't really pay attention to the music when you're watching a movie. When
Unless it blows your way. Yeah.
You guys know what was the time when I probably paid more attention to music the first time I watched a movie than in any other movie I'd seen before.
So
well, like
yeah.
like for an example, the music I believe it is on Kong Skull Island. Now I remember that music because they played a lot of good songs in that fucking movie. Okay, and I have tried several times to find a soundtrack for it, and it has come out on the soundtrack. But they play lots of good songs in that movie.
Yeah,
I
good
remember.
point. And you guys know which movie got me obsessed with its music the first time I watched it.
What?
Come on, none of you remember.
No.
No.
Oh, Succubus Hellbent, you dipsticks.
Oh, yeah. Because you were trying
Sorry,
to
I
find.
gotta keep up with my own obsessions, not yours.
Sorry, Kroll, what did you say?
I said I gotta keep up with my own obsessions, not yours.
So I think we're now at our favorite scenes and our favorite character or characters.
Oh, yeah.
So Tammy, why don't you tell us which were your favorite character or characters and or favorite scenes?
I think my favorite character was the sheriff because people probably did not expect them to put two and two together and the way he did it and stuff. You didn't at first you didn't think he was really catching on, and then you realize, oh yeah, he is. He's just got his own way. And so I really liked him. I felt bad that he had to die. Um, my favorite scene, I guess, is the fight scene at the end. It was just, you know, he was in
The,
a fight for his life, and he was just not gonna give up, and he was gonna win this fight for his life. And that's the way it went.
Okay. What about you, Boris? Favorite character or characters and our favorite scene.
My favorite character would probably be the pig. Just kidding.
Really?
um, Although, yeah, I did like the pig, but no, that's not my favorite character.
I think you're
uh,
lying. I think it really is.
I thought you were talking. I thought you were talking about the sheriff. Oh, never mind. Um,
Oh, I think I see what you did
Oh,
there.
nice one, Dave. Nice one.
Yeah, but no,
I didn't get that at first, and I was like, wait a minute.
I was referring to the actual pig, but then I was going to say, no, I'm just
Fucked up.
kidding.
some
It's
would
not
say
the.
the actual pig was the
Well,
sheriff.
did you think she was sexy or something?
The pig?
What? Bloody hell!
Run away, Miss Piggy, run away.
But jokes aside, okay,
He
I
was
was
one
also.
of the original men who stare at pigs.
Maybe my favorite character is the statue of the pig. Okay, I'm joking too. My favorite character is Paul. Well, as we have already said, it's because he is smart, because he doesn't give in to panic so easily, and he uses strategy to get out of the situation. So that was pretty good, and that's probably why he is my favorite character. The favorite scene, okay, it's the obvious choice, but yeah, the final fight, as we have already said, it was amazing, and especially when he finally got her done with that pig statue, that was brilliant. Although I have already said it before, but yeah, that's probably my favorite scene.
Okay. What about you, number one fan?
Yeah, the music was okay. Nothing that I really wrote home about. Kind of noticed it a little bit. Just want to mention that before I get into the others. Say anything about the music. Um, but as far as favorite characters go, it's hard because yeah, I really do like Paul. He's so intelligent. Um, the sheriff, he's so smart too. He figures everything out. Are reading the books. He's definitely not your typical pig or whatever. He's a very likable character. Yeah,
He is,
and
yeah.
it's a shame he got killed. But then I can't. As much as I don't root for the bad guy, uh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention mention Annie. I mean, she played her so well. She's such a great character, so interesting. You definitely don't root for her, but it's such an interesting character. I have to go with her too. So I don't know. It's kind of a three-way tie between the three of them. They all drive the story so well. They all do their part so well, and they all. I mean, if I had to choose between the three, I'd have to go with Annie, only because she just steals every scene she's in. She just Kathy Bates really, really Oscar winning performance there. I think she did win. I don't know,
Oh,
but
really? How
it's
romantic!
it's she just stole every scene she was in. She just stole it, and she was amazing. And again, I ain't root for her because she was a villain, but she definitely was an awesome character. She was just hands down super interesting, awesome character. Kind of reminds you like the Joker in the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, in a way. Both all crazy, but you know. So, yeah, I definitely have to go with Annie if I had to pick the three. But I'd definitely say the three. But if I had to pick one, it would be Annie. So, yeah, that's I've seen. Well, I have to mention the hobbling scene because Yeah, like I said, anytime I think of this movie, I think of that scene, and it's just an incredible scene. But the fight was awesome. The fight was every part of the fight, um, from when it started to the finish, and everything in between was awesome.
Yeah.
Myself, I would have to say that my favorite character is in fact Annie. I do think she was an interesting character. I do think we got enough of a backstory through the paper clippings. If you saw all of the paper clippings in that little montage of clippings, you did get her backstory. I mean, you don't
Enough.
really
Well,
need
maybe.
more than that. I mean, there were like at least three children that at least were that had been killed off. She was accused. She was
Uh,
ultimately called the Dragon Lady.
Yeah,
She
she went to jail for it.
went to jail. I mean, you saw all this in the clippings.
yeah, but we never found out why she was killing children.
Again, that's just too much. Like you want too much backstory sometimes, man. Like they gave
Yes,
backstory and they gave enough backstory. Like I said, if they did a spin-off or something where we got to see that, that's cool. But for this movie, we didn't need one. We got enough.
I guess.
see, I don't need to know how crazy that person
We
is.
don't need to know every detail.
We
Again, if
just
they
need
wanted to
to
do a
know that
TV
she's
show
crazy.
or a movie to explore that, that'd be cool. But we don't need it in this movie. I mean, not every movie needs to be. I mean, you don't like 4 hour movies, yet, every time you say something, you would definitely add a lot to the movie, maybe a half an hour, depending on the situation. So, yeah.
Okay, maybe that's a good point. Maybe it's just I think too much in terms of my own writing, where I usually like to explain for every relevant character how they became the way they are, why they did what they did, and so
Sometimes
on.
less is better. Just because you want the people to have the kind of imagination. Like if they knew fucking everything about the thing, it would be a fucking boring ass thing. You know. Um, if I knew everything there was about this crazy ass lady, I guarantee you, I'd be like, okay, yeah, she's crazy. So
There'd be nothing to like about her.
there's
You
nothing
know,
to like about them if you know everything there is to know. You
you
know,
don't need to know everything. It's just, yeah,
and there is not
you
to know
definitely
everything
like to
about
know
everything.
everything, and I get
Not
that.
that I'm saying that your writing isn't good or anything like that. I'm just saying, in in if you want an audience, sometimes less is more.
Yep.
So
And especially, if say instead of writing out one book, you want to write a trilogy. If you've already told everything in the one book, then they don't need to read the other 2 books. You know, say
uh,
something for later.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
my Total Evil novel was originally going to be one book consisting of 2 parts, and it was going to have around 240 pages in Microsoft Word.
Okay,
But
so it's a small book, so it's not that bad.
uh, yeah, that was how I originally imagined it, but when I was writing it, it ended up being 500 pages. So I split it up in 2 books, and later on, I also got an idea for a sequel that ended up being approximately just as long.
which you could probably split up into two down the road too.
Uh, I, I did, yeah. So now my Total Evil series consists of 4 books. the seeker of knowledge, the seeker of justice, the seekers of peace, and the seekers of freedom. There are there are some side stories too, like expanded universe and so on.
And it keeps going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. But in any case, so I think that's pretty much it, unless we haven't gotten one's favorite. Um, I did say my favorite character, but my favorite scenes were. I would definitely say the hobbling part was definitely one of my favorites. The way she talks about the miners and then she sets up that whole scene. That was fucking gruesome and glorious all at once. Um, and I have to admit the last final scene and the fact that the sheriff gets blown a hole through his fucking like chest, man. I mean that. Uh, of course, I always like Crow said, I always seem to remember the hobbling scene, but the sheriff getting blown away like that is always like an added bonus, you know. So,
Yeah, that was a pretty shocking and disappointing moment.
but I think that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you enjoyed our uh, discussion on Stephen King's Misery, directed by Rob Reiner. Thanks for bringing it to the table, Boris.
You're welcome.
And next week, I believe we have Tammy up to the plate. So why don't you tell us what movie we have in store for the audience next time?
Well, Crow was saying, I want something other than horror.
Well, do you blame me?
So we're going to do The Incredible Mr. Limpet.
The incredible Mr. Olympic.
Yep.
It's a comedy with Don Knotts.
If you haven't seen it, where the hell you been?
Uh,
Uh, uh, the incredible Mr. Olympic. Oh, I
Yes.
misheard what you said.
With Don Knotts. Before he did Three's Company.
Yeah.
yeah, before he did Three's Company, and way before he did Pleasantville.
Fair enough.
So hopefully you liked our discussion. Let us know down in the comments of what you thought of our discussion. And if you haven't seen this movie, go out and see it. I know misery loves company. We'll be seeing you always. Everyone stay good night, and like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Like, share, and subscribe, and see you next time. Wait, you said to say, oh, okay, just good night. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night, Bob.
Good night.